Good evening, everybody. It's W1RCP, and tonight we are going to do an antenna shootout. So I have quite a few different antennas tonight. I have the Baofeng, which is just the stock Baofeng antenna. I have the FT60 stock antenna, just a little old rubber ducky. And then we have the Guangsheng, which is connected to the Guangsheng. That'll be the first one we test. This is going to be the test rig tonight. And then we have two others that are very similar. One is from Amazon, and it is an HYS NA772. I bought that one off of Amazon a couple years ago. And then I got one off of TEMU, which is called an Nagoya, which I think is one of those brands you've probably heard of before. But this is the NA771, very similar part number to the other one. And I'm not sure quite the difference other than the fact that the rubber tip is missing off of this one. And then we have the Diamond SRH 77CA. This one's been around the block a little while. It's definitely been smushed and bent in places, but this has been on my FT60 probably for a long time. I can't even remember. I've probably had this one at least 10 years. So given the fact that it's 10 years old is not that bad. And then we have I really don't know what to call this. It is called the foldable. It's 47 centimeter foldable antenna. It says on it in tiny little black letters, 136 megahertz to 520 megahertz. This is the 47 centimeter. And I thought I was going to get the 72 centimeter because I thought that would be cool because it'd be full wavelength on 70 centimeters. But then I was like, that's kind of a ridiculous length. So I do have this. It is a tape measure antenna. I swear to you that this is just heat shrink on two tape measures that are folded back to back like this. So we're going to test this one out. And the way that we're going to test these out is with the TinySA, which you can see that I'm actually on right now. So the TinySA, if you look down, I was contacted by the company. If you look down in the description, I have links to most of these antennas. I have links to the Tiny... Help me, get me out of here. I'm stuck in the walls. But I have a link down at the bottom if you want a TinySA. They contacted me, the SeeSii company contacted me yesterday and said, hey, I see that you're doing a live stream with the TinySA. Here's a 5% discount. Now, I do know that on Amazon, they also have $30 off right now. So if we were to go to the Chrome browser, let's see, this is not the Chrome browser that we're looking for. If we go to the Chrome browser and we go to Amazon, let's take a look and just see what the sale price is right now. So we're going to fade. And I've improved technology tonight. I do have a green screen, so I can just be a face on the actual screen, which is, you know, this is new. This is different. I still don't know which way is my left or my right. I guess it's mirrored, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, we go to Amazon and we go to TinySA. And there is one that is specifically, this is the upgraded, and There it is. So a $30 coupon, and you can also, if you click the link in my description, I will get a little cutback from it. You also want the attenuator, and I have the attenuator linked in the actual description down below. So the 40 watt attenuator is the same one that Temporarily Offline uses, and so there's that. Alrighty, so we'll move on back. I'm sure that I've messed up some stuff and shown some things that I shouldn't be showing. So we will fade to black. Alrighty, so tonight, the way that I'm going to do this is I actually have the TinySA with, oh, I know what I did wrong now. Here's the TinySA coming up right here. And we are going to use the application itself to test this thing out. And this is the app that's provided by the creators, and so we'll use that. And I see that Dan is already here. Good evening, Dan. I know Eddie is out doing Parks on the Air right now, so that's not fair. I was invited, but man, that's a long way to go if you have to come back home. But I'm hoping to get out to, let's see, he's at Florence Marina. And I do know that I have just a few hundred left to have a kilo out at Providence Canyon. That's where I really want to go tonight, but I can't. So I promised I was going to do this cool little antenna shootout. Now the setup for this antenna shootout is that the TinySA, let me go to a full screen so I can show you this. All right, so the TinySA I have back here, and the way that it works is I have the antenna attached to it like this, and I'm sure that you could probably see right through those colors that are on the screen because they're also green, so you can see right through my TinySA right there. But then I have it hooked with a USB directly to the computer. And so I'll set that back over there where I had it. And so there's some controls tonight. On the table where you cannot see, where I have the Quang Chang, is a little star sticky note. And that is where the radio has to sit, is inside the star, which gives us the exact distance every time. So when I transmit, it's the same distance every time, and we're going to use the same radio on low power so that we can test this. And I'm going to have to set one more thing up before we get going. Give me just a minute. All right, so we have set that up, and we have in Chrome, so I have to shoot back to the Chrome, what's the word I'm looking for here? I can't even think of the word. Back to Chrome, and I have a data sheet. It's a Excel spreadsheet. You know, this tag is not supposed to be sticking out. This is the hat that I should have worn when I went on my river rove the other night, because I had a hat that was the snapback with the D shape in it, and I wore it forwards for about half the trip, and I wore it backwards for half the trip. I'm talking about where the D was, and I had a nice sunburn right here on my chrome dome, so that was pretty daggum awesome. All right, so this is how we're going to do this setup. I've learned from the physics teachers at school and some of the other teachers that you take at least 6 data points. So in the TinySA application, I have 147 megahertz to 148 megahertz because I'm going to be transmitting on 147.500 on low power. That is a simplex frequency. And the points per scan is only going to be 200 because in this program, it's a little bit slower than if you actually use the screen on the TinySA itself. If you use that, it's a lot faster, but because there's data transfer, it takes a little bit longer. So I have 200 points per scan, and then I have the attenuation set at 30 decibels, just in case, because you don't want to burn these things out. I think that they can only take 1 decibel in before they aren't happy. So that's where if you're going to test putting a radio direct into it, which you can, what you have to do is use an inline attenuator. And if you don't use that inline attenuator, you could burn it right up. So you have to be real careful. Okay, is there anything else before we kick this pig? Who else is in the room tonight? Is it just me and Dan playing along because it's Friday night and it's 9 o'clock and it's super late? Because I'm about to get in this, and if you want to, you can go ahead and, if watching me send signals to this application, which I forgot to mention, I also have time averaging on so that we can get an average of each of the 5-second or so transmissions so that we can get the number to put in the Excel spreadsheet so we can actually compare the antennas together. So I guess that's pretty much it. I'll take a drink of water and then we'll get going. How about that? That's crazy. The night I gave stuff away, there were like 44 people that came by. Alrighty, so the first test I'm going to bring up, I should have brought something to write with. Alright, I got something to write with. I should have brought some paper. Paper is going to be a lot harder to come by. The reason I need paper is in case I need to write down some of these numbers. Can I destroy that? Okay, I got some scrap paper. Just in case I need to write down these numbers, because my memory is about as short as Dory on Finding Nemo. Okay, so let's bring up the TinySA. Here's the TinySA. So I'm on 147.500. That's where I'm going to be transmitting. And as we watch the TinySA, the first one that we're going to use is the built-in TinySA antenna. Back that up, dum-dum. We're going to use the Quansheng antenna first. That's the first one we're going to do our test on. So I'm going to face the radio in the same direction every time. And you will now see on the TinySA screen when I hit continuous scan. So right now it's taking an average. And as I hold the button down, you'll see that it goes up and up and up and up. All right, so that's our average. Is about, I'm going to put negative 9.0 is going to be our first one. Negative 9.0 is our first for the Quansheng. Okay, the next thing I just noticed, and I haven't done any tests tonight at the table, is transmitting makes my Fluke multimeter turn on. So, I think I need to move this out of the way. Maybe if I move it far enough away, it won't do that. Let's find out. Okay, so negative 9.0 is our first data point. Let's do this one more time, times 4. All right, so we're doing the average. We're getting negative 9. It's jumping between 9.5 and 9 point. Let me get quiet. So it's about negative 9.6. I'm going to take the best of that one. I don't think I'm going to be able to talk while I'm doing it because I think some of the modulation is going to throw it off just a little bit. Okay, that was our second data point. So now we're going to take 4 more. Now we're going to take 4 more. I should have said 1 plus 4. Okay, here we go. Here is the third test. About 9.6 again. I did see a 9.5 in there, but we're going to go 9.6. You know, I should have checked the battery on this thing to make sure it was going to last the whole night. Alrighty, here comes our fourth test. I saw negative 9.5, so that's what we're going to go with, negative 9.5. So far, and now I'm only doing this test on 2 meters tonight. I'm not doing the 70 centimeter because I don't think I'll have time, nor do I think I'll have the battery power, but we can try. Let's see, that was 4. Let's do 2 more data points. I'm going to put negative 7. That was pretty good. I wonder why that one worked better than, see, that's why you take so many data points. All right, and the last one. Well, it just gets better as time goes on. Negative 6.7. Now I'm sitting here wondering, did I do something different? All right, let's do it one more time. We'll erase one of the first ones. It's like hit or miss on what you get. So maybe that was a good estimation. Alrighty, so we're going to go back and now we're going to plug these numbers in. So the Quansheng stock was negative 9.0. We had negative 9.6. Oops. We had negative 9.6. For the fourth, we had negative 9.5. For the fifth, we had negative 7. And the sixth, we had negative 6.7. So it averages out to about negative 8.56 repeating. Alrighty, so that is control number 1 is the basic antenna for the Quansheng. Okay, take this one off. Now, most of the stock antennas for your Quanshengs, your Baofengs, the BT Techs, all have the female connector here and the male connector on the radio. All right, so we're putting the Quansheng to the side. I think the next one is going to be the FT60. Now, this is where things get interesting. For Yaesu, it is the opposite. So what I had to do for this one, and I probably will have to use the needle nose pliers, but I am using an SMA female to female adapter because this is male on the inside. You can't even see it because it's so dark in there. Okay, so we're going to put this onto the antenna, and then we will screw that down. This is the FT60 stock antenna going for 6. We're going for 6 data points. So let's cut back to the TinySA. And here we go. Here goes our 6 data points for the Yaesu FT60 stock antenna. Negative 11. Well, that's freaking horrible. Negative 10. Negative 10.5. That's 3 data points. Negative 10.6. That was probably about a negative 10.9. And we have one more data point. And that looked like about a negative 10.2. I think was one of the last measurements we saw there. Alrighty. We have measured that one. Let's go and switch back to, oh my God, I so am on the wrong screen here. Chrome, come back. There we go. But Dan, what you been up to, bud? I see that Dan's in the stream. All right, so the FT60 stock was negative 11, so it was actually worse than negative 10. There's no redeeming factors here. This antenna did terrible on the Kwangshan. 10.6, negative 10.9, and negative 10.2. Alrighty, so negative 10.53. So far, we have the Kwangshan stock antenna in first place and the FT60 in second place. Not too shabby. So let's go ahead. Let's remove this antenna. That is a Yaesu FT stock. And I didn't have to use the pliers, but my fingers are going to start to hurt after a while. All right, so the FT60 is out. We will lay that over in the antenna pile. Alrighty, next we have the Baofeng stock. I do not need the adapter for that. We just have to make sure that this is in fact the Baofeng stock. Yes. Yep, this is the Baofeng stock. So now we're going to use the Baofeng stock. We're looking good on battery power, so I think we're going to last through the entire stream, so that's good. Alrighty, Baofeng stock on the Kwangshan, UVK5, putting it back on the star, and we will transition back to the TinySA. And now we will go for our 6 data points. Here we go. Negative 14.7. Golly. Again, negative 14.7. Are there any redeeming qualities here? I'm going to give that a negative 14. That wasn't too bad. It was actually below just a little bit. We're going to go negative 14.5. Kind of hovered around that point just a little bit. And negative 14.7. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have one more. Negative 14.7. So that one is going to be around 14.4, I guess, once we get that one entered in. So we will transition to here. Alrighty, so we're going to take the Baofeng stock. Now I have many Baofeng stocks. So there is no telling which one of those that came off. It could have been the TEMU Baofengs, could have been the Amazon Baofengs. I don't know which one that actually came off. So now we'll go back to the Chrome browser and we will enter in our data. So far, things are actually looking pretty good for the Guangsheng stock. Negative 14.7. I think it's going to be a lot of 14.7s. We had one that was really close to negative 14. We had a negative 14.5, a negative 14.7, and a negative 14.7. Now the calculation is pretty simple. I'm just adding the 6 up and dividing by 6 because that's how you take an average when you math. Okay, so now we're moving to the North America 771. I'm guessing that's what North America stands for. All right, so this is the Nagoya that I got off of TEMU not too long ago. It was about the same cost as if you were to buy almost any other antenna. So we're going to screw that down on there. Now, getting into some of the, let's go back to this screen for just a minute. If you look at the differences here between this antenna, which takes up more than the whole screen, even if I tilt it, you know, it takes a minute. And then you have these antennas, which are probably at least half the size of this one. We should be able to see some better results from these. So these guys right here, these were basically our, they were the controls, because you can see they're all pretty crappy. Okay, so let's see. We're back on it. Low power. Just in case, W1RCP testing. I doubt anybody can hear it, but just to keep it legal for less and keep somebody's granny panties from getting in a wad, we'll identify. Once every 30 minutes, not bad, right? Okay, let's go back to the TinySA, and we're going to get our 6 data points. I'm going to flip this piece of paper over that I'm writing on, and we're going to take our 6 data points. As you can see on the screen is the TinySA program, which is in Windows, and it is connected to the TinySA through the USB. And here we go. Here's data point number 1 for the Nagoya North America 771. Negative 16. Daggum. Test number 2. Negative 16.25. Negative 16.2. I'm going to say 0.25 because what's 200ths? You may hear a doggy eating over there. That's my big dog Telly having him a midnight snack at 9:30. That's really close to negative 16. We'll take it. We have 2 more data points to take. Negative 15.8. And 1 more. And negative 16.7. Okay, let's go type those into the NA771 was negative 16. So it is awful. Negative 16.25. Guess you need to be careful what you get. -16, -15, oops, -15.8. I'm on a laptop. If I had a freaking number pad, this would be so much easier. I was an accountant in the military. Man, that was the way to go. Okay, we're going to move to the 772. So far, we have a not-so-clear winner and an absolutely clear loser. So the 771 is not ready for prime time on this, particular radio. This may wind up being a 3-part series. What if we tried these on 3 different radios? What would you get similar results? Okay, now the 772. This is the one that I've had for a good minute. I believe that my rubber tip got stuck in a door and got ripped off. But this one came from Amazon, which was probably more of a reputable source. All right. So we're putting that one on. And we will go to the... We'll set the radio on its star. Just to keep the grandmas happy, W1RCP is still testing. No need to come back at me. Again, I'm on low power. I don't know how much low power is on the Guangsheng, but it is what it is. Okay, here we go. 6 data points. I'm going to write -12.9. That one looked like it averaged around 12.9. I'm going to say -12.9 again. That one's closer to 13. Now the little dog's eating. -12.7. We have 2 more data points to take. That was like -13.5. That's an outlier. We have 1 more to take. And -13.3. All right. Let's go and enter our numbers. North America 772 is -16. -16.25. Nope, looking at the wrong antenna. Let's not screw this up now. -12.9. -12.9. -13. -12.7. That says 13.7. See, I can't type on these linear keyboards. -12.7. -13.5, the outlier, and -13.3, somewhat still an outlier. Okay, so I mean, it's getting a little better, Not much better, but it's getting better. Let's go back to the Okay, so to keep things fair, Kyle, I have not sprayed any of these with the South Georgia Woman Attraction Musk. There's the full RF effect is not happening tonight. We're running on low power, just in case anybody does listen to 147.500, which is one of those recognizable simplex frequencies that doesn't get used very much, because everybody knows 14652. I will tell you, walking around with a Baofeng on your belt clip ain't no woman getter. You're going to hear some dogs barking in a minute. They're playing back there. All right, so now we are going to the, I mean, you can see we've already tested 4. I tried to get one from Eddie, and I forgot to get the antenna from Eddie. I think it was called a signal stick, maybe. But he does have another skinny one that would be nice to try out. Kyle, Alpha Alpha Zero Zulu, glad you joined us tonight. I saw that you found the Easter egg in today's video release of me trying to get 1,000 contacts out at Blue Springs State Park, and I surpassed my goal, as you saw, and didn't really spend a lot of time talking about, actually there weren't a lot of contacts on there. Most of it was just talking about what I did. It showed a little bit of FT8, which is related to my FT8 video. All right, so I'm running out of paper here. We're going to go back to the TinySA and 6 data points. That's what we're shooting for here. So I'm going to make my TinySA big screen so I can read it. This is the Diamond SRH77CA, which can still be purchased, as far as I know, from DX Engineering. Don't know how much it costs, but we can look it up if you want to look it up. All right, here we go. 6 data points. We're going to go negative 12.2 was the best that we saw there. That's negative 12.75. That's negative 12.87. Again, I could have probably just rounded these up to the 10th place and been fine. That was 3 data points. We need 3 more. Negative 12.6. 2 more test points. Negative 13.1 was, now remember, this is averaging over time. So it is taking more than, it looks like I have the filter set at 4. So we're getting an average, which kind of already averages things out. And then we're taking an average of 6 data points. And negative 12.74. All right, so let's enter these into the magic calculator. That spring was cool. We have some really neat springs in southern Missouri that are amazing. That one was pretty cool. I tell you, there's one in Florida I want to go to. It is Salt Springs. I haven't been there since I was a kid, but I do remember, you know, I showed in the video of me taking the GoPro in the plastic bag down into the spring itself. It wasn't 12 feet down there. I don't even think it was 12 feet, to be honest with you, because my ears didn't even pop when I swam down there. And the only thing is I'm fat and out of shape, and so I can't hold my breath very long. But that water, oh my gosh, the only bad thing about springs is, man, that water is frigid. All right, let me type these numbers in real quick. Negative 12.2, negative 12.75, negative 12.87, negative 12.6, negative 13.1. If I make a mistake, you better let me know. Negative 12.74. So, as we go down the line, crazy thing, the Quanchang stock is the best performer. I'm going to go back and take 6 more data points of that just to see if that was a fluke. But the SR77CA falls under these 2 craptastic antennas here. If you need RF to get out, I'm sure they're fine. We are only taking into account the RF that is being received at the TinySA, which is sitting over there, from the antenna, which is sitting on the star on the kitchen table, so that it's in the same place every time. That's important, is having those variables that don't, they're constant. It's funny to call a constant variable or a constant. Yeah, that spring was neat. Out there, you know, it flowed through the tube that I swam through. And I'll tell you, swimming against 3,000 gallons per minute is difficult. You don't really swim against it. You more brace for impact. Then what I did is, what it does is it flows through there into the next pool, and then it just pushes you right on out. And then it goes over the little dam, the concrete dam, and then it flows into that little section. And there's a whole bunch of clay. Like, I have balls of clay in the garage. I was going to bring them home and actually make something out of them. They baked. They absolutely baked themselves in the garage in the back of the truck. So I'm going to get me one more piece of scrap paper so that I can write down our last 6 data points. Oh, this is... I'm using my child's medicine box for scrap paper here. So I guess this has taken, other than the fact that I've been talking to you all just a little bit, this has taken quite a bit of time to write these numbers down and test these antennas. All right, I'm going to take a drink of water. Hold on. So, if somebody has an antenna they want me to test in this, send me your antenna. I am good on QRZ. And I'll send it back to you when I'm done. But you got to pay postage both ways because I ain't got that kind of money yet. Okay. We're done with the CA 77 CA. Alrighty, last antenna. Now this is the one that I'm interested to see how this performs. Let's go full screen for just a minute. This guy right here, I talked about it earlier, is just one of those El Cheapo. I got this one off of TEMU. It is, they come in different sizes. Again, this is only the 47 centimeter. They have a 72, which, I mean, that's almost twice as long. But I can't imagine walking around with a cheap $30 radio having an antenna that stretches and rubs the ceiling inside the house. Little ridiculous, I would say. Now, one of the things about this antenna is the base is honking huge. So, if you're going to use this on your Baofengs, you do have to make sure that your Baofeng's LED doesn't stick up past, let's use my hat for this. You can see the LED, the actual black plastic around the LED doesn't stick up as much. But one of these bad boys over here has one that sticks up way too much. I think it's this red tri-bander, which is not the standard Baofeng, but you can see if I try to put the antenna on this one, it doesn't go. There's a gap in between where you can see my hat shining behind it. That's because the LED housing, it's not just the LED sticking up. This actually has a different LED in it. This one has what looks to be a brighter LED with a reflector in it, instead of just the LED itself sticking out the top. So we'll put that back over there. It just barely fits on the Quangsheng. And I did try some things with the Quangsheng. I'm still kind of afraid to try the mods on it, but this just fits on the Quangsheng. Okay, here we go. Putting it on the star. And we will go back to the TinySA for the last test before we go home. And we pull the trigger on test number 1. Negative 6.7. But dang, if we just went off of that, holy crap. Negative 6.7. Negative 6.6. I'm rounding up. It doesn't even matter anymore, really. 10th place. The 10th place is good enough. Negative 6.6. I have 2 more to go. That was about negative 6.7 again. And negative 6.8. Well, gosh, I don't even have to look at the page to know that that one right there just did something freaking amazing. Let's go to the Chrome browser and let's go enter our data in. 47 centimeter foldable TEMU special, negative 6.7. I do have, if you are afraid to buy off of TEMU, I do have in the links in the description some Amazon affiliate links where you can get this same antenna. It's surely made by all the same people. If you want to look absolutely ridiculous, and I don't mind, but I do believe that we have a clear-cut winner tonight. The 47 centimeter foldable antenna is approximately 2 decibels higher than the Quansheng stock, which is the next at negative 8 point, I mean, even if you round it up, negative 8.6. That is amazing. Let's go back to the Quansheng stock and see if we get similar readings one more time. Negative 8.56 was the average, just for fun. Man, the battery lasts a long time on this. W1RCP, still testing. No need to bother me. There ain't nobody that can hear that for miles. Okay, let's go back. Hey, yep. Team replay. I don't even know what that is. Should I know what that team replay is? I'm going to have to Google that one. Okay, does that mean that I need to find another day to stream? That's probably what that means. Going back to the TinySA one more time, we're just going to take 2 shots at this and see what numbers we get. Making sure it's on the star. See, it's negative 7.8. So it looks like our mileage might vary. Well, that's interesting. So I think that it gets a little bit better. I saw a lot of 7.8 and 7.9 in there. So I'm going to go back and switch some of those real quick because I think the second test on that actually turned out a little bit better. So let's go back. We had negative 7.8, negative 7.8, negative 7.9 I think was the next one. Negative 7.8, negative 7.9, and negative 7.8. But even so, that doesn't change the rating much. It was still the second best out of all these antennas. But still, the 47 centimeter foldable was amazing. Now, you could do this test over and over. I'm sure results will be a little bit different each time that you use them. Every radio is going to have some different results. We're not worried so much about the number itself of the decibels per milli, or decibels compared to a milliwatt. What we're worried about is what is the average compared to another antenna. Because if I was to do a different radio at different power, because if I were to do this at high power, let me see, which button do you push? You can hear her talk.
Power.
This is high power right here. So just to show you what high power would do with the Quansheng, let's fade back into the TinySA. You can see that there ain't much of a difference, even at high power. Of course, that has to do with the attenuation. And the fact that it may not like maybe low power and high power on this radio. We don't know how much power is actually giving out. So let's put, just for fun, high power, fat antenna. It makes a difference with that. Look at that. Negative 5.3 on high power. All right, so we'll turn the radio off. W1 RCP done testing. Clear. Ooh. See what happens when you get it real close to the radio or to the TinySA? Made a big difference, didn't it? Alrighty, so these are our results for tonight. This is the results of 7 different antennas. In first place, we have the 47 centimeter foldable. First place, clear winner. We're gonna make that color. That is first place right there. That's number 1. Second place is the Quansheng stock. Third place was the, no, that is not third place. Sorry, dude. Third place was the Baofeng stock. And then fourth place with negative 10 was the 10.5 FT60 stock. Fifth place was the SR77. Sixth place was the NA772. And in dead last, 7th place was the NA771 that I got off of Amazon a gazillion years ago. Or, wait. I have to look at them to remember. So, the 772 is the one that I got off of Amazon. The 771 is the TEMU. It did not do good. Okay, so, that is our live stream. Wasn't as much participation tonight, but I do want to go to this screen right here. Boop. And I want to give a shout out to these folks right here. These are the folks that keep me going. And it is Toby, Alpha Delta 2 Charlie Delta, Kilo Oscar 4 Fox Sierra Zulu antennas. If you Google that, you should find some excellent antennas made by Chris. Ham Radio Hobby is N3PEM. WD4DAN is Front End Overload, who was in the room tonight. And then Georgia Parks and Propagation, who was supposed to go on a rove this weekend, and I think a bug hit him. So thank you so much for your support. And if anybody else would like to join as a fan of the channel to help keep the costs going, not keep the costs down, because if I have money, I'm going to spend it on amateur radio and put it right back into the channel. Sitting right here, just in antennas, is probably at least $70 worth of antennas. I bet it's a lot more than that, but well, you know, some of them came with the radio. So, alrighty. So I want to thank these folks for their loyal support. And as time goes on, their stars will change colors depending on how long they've been a member. And you get access to all kinds of perks and maybe even more. We don't even know, because I think I need to make some stickers. I've been looking at Sticker Mule. All right, guys, this is W1RCP, and this was our stream for tonight. If you're catching it after the stream, no problemo. We're doing a shootout. Pew, 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 pew. Look at that shadow on that green screen back there. Whoa, whoa. But, hey, I guess we're going to bounce. That was right at an hour, give or take the the intro music that we had going on. Now I got a mess to clean up in the kitchen. I'll do it tomorrow. All right, good night, everybody. 73.